What kind of mother would I be bringing a baby into this mess? So that means I can't have this baby around the life, even if that means I'm raising it by myself.
Listen, Lee, I don't need to be out of this shit to protect ya.
That don't work for me.
Ain't my first time.
Oh, I didn't see that in your chart.
Wasn't off the books type thing when I was a lot younger.
You got no clue what you're getting yourself into.
I haven't decided if I'm keeping it yet. I really love Tommy and I want to be a family.
Tommy doesn't know.
I saved both our lives!
So you had him fucking killed behind my fucking back?
Will be a distant memory. Gonna push him right off that cliff.
We're gonna take it back.
This is a dangerous life.
I will do anything to protect her.
Is everything ready? Tommy Egan dies tomorrow.
Welcome back, Top Notch Gang, to another video. We're here in the aftermath of season 3 episode 5 of Power Book 4 Force, and we're here with another pregnancy. Mireya, she's pregnant by Tommy, and once again in a power storyline, she decides not to tell him. Now in this video, I'm tired of these pregnancy storylines that really go nowhere in the Power universe, so I'm gonna actually dive into and break down if their baby actually survives this season. We know Tommy and Tariq are getting a spin-off, and we already got exclusive background information from Joseph Sikora himself that Tommy is basically leaving Chicago. So we're gonna talk about and break down if their baby, if it's the first Power baby that actually makes it through one of these storylines. We're going to talk about all the other instances that we seen these type of things take place from the original Power, of course, with Tommy as well, and Holly. We're going to talk about that because Holly actually made a return appearance last season in Book Force, and they had a conversation about him and Mireya that I think is very important. We also got to talk about, of course, Book Ghost with Tariq and Diana, how that went tragic. Diana telling him that they can't be in this game if they have the baby, and ultimately that's what costed them everything. And we see in a new preview trailer for episode 6 of Book Force, Mireya is kind of telling Tommy the same thing, so that could correlate. Also, even going back to Raising Kanan, we got 2 pregnancy storylines within that of Rock and Unique, and also Krystal and Kanan. So we have a lot to talk about. If you guys enjoy, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Of course, we have to start off with Tommy and Holly because it deals directly with him. It's also the first one we've seen in OG Power and how everything played out. So we of course know Tommy met Holly. She was working at Ghost's club and shit like that. He kind of only liked her because she looked like his mom, which is fucking crazy. But nonetheless, they started getting close, and he started telling her more about his life, what he do, the drugs and all this and that. Let it slip that James is Ghost and all that, and she started feeling herself to a point where she told Ghost his name and all that, and ended up getting shot in his club. Then after that, we know she got questioned by the police trying to find out who is Ghost. They thinking it was Tommy, and she the one who told Angela that James was Ghost. So Ghost wanted to get rid of her. He wanted to kill her, but he decided to just pay her off to leave. But ultimately she decided to come back and tell Tommy what happened. Now Tommy was already on the outs with Ghost at this point, because this was when Ghost was going and kill all the members around them because they knew their identities. He tried to kill Lobos. He only let Ruiz live, I believe. He took everybody else out, and him and Tommy pulled a gun out on each other. All that went down, and they went their separate ways. Now Tommy was already pissed at him, and of course Lobos survived, so Lobos called him and was like, hey, you need to kill Ghost. But Tommy of course couldn't go through with it. He had multiple opportunities to do it, and then Ghost, I believe, ended up saving his life. Holly didn't give a fuck about this because Tommy told her, so she decided to go and hire the Jamaicans to take out Ghost herself. And when she told Tommy, bro lost it. He crashed out, choked her ass up, and killed her. Now, in the midst of all this, Tommy still didn't find out she was pregnant when it happened. The only person who knew at that time was, of course, Tasha. And then Tasha told it to Ghost when Ghost came and helped Tommy get rid of Holly's body. But Ghost still decided not to tell Tommy. So Tommy didn't find out till way later, which is important because I brought up that Mireya decided not to tell Tommy, and I'm tired of them doing this shit where they don't tell the other person and think it's better that way when that makes absolutely no fucking sense. But nonetheless, that's how that played out with him and Holly in that whole storyline. Now, once again, this is relevant and important because we saw in season 2 of Book Force, Holly came back and Tommy was hallucinating her after him and Mireya officially got together, and he was telling him basically he burns down everything he touches. And of course, when she came back, he was holding her stomach because it showcased that she was pregnant. He was talking about how he's gonna do better, all this and that, and she basically was like, nah, I don't trust it.
You're gonna hurt her too.
Different now.
You can't have both worlds, Tommy.
Now, obviously, that was foreshadowing this season. Once again, Tommy possibly having another baby, which is why I think he'll do it right this time, or they're actually gonna go through with it. But we'll talk about that more when we get to the Mireya section. But nonetheless, this was the first big instance of the pregnancy storyline, and it actually incorporated Tommy in it. So I think it has huge relevance to how this storyline is gonna play out, especially with her not telling him. When he does find out, it could bring back memories of Holly. Maybe get another hallucination of her, who knows, but it's gonna stir up some old circumstances and feelings about how everything played out with this first situation. The next one I want to dive into is Tariq and Diana, because this one is actually the most recent one and is in the current timeline as Tommy and everything like that. And once again, we know they're getting their spinoff, but they correlate the most because Tariq was in a life just like Tommy is, and Tommy told Holly in the flashback when she came back last season that he wants to have both because he loves her. Holly told him he can't have both, the real world and this drug world, like how everybody was telling Ghost and shit. He said he wants both. This is the exact same situation with Diana and Tariq. Now, of course, we know Tariq was about to smoke her ass and she told him she was pregnant and that it was his. Now, she already decided. She was talking to Monet and she said what type of parent would she be if she bring a kid into this world with the life they're living, and Kane even told her that this would be the worst mistake she makes if she bring that kid into the world. So she goes back to Tariq and says she doesn't know what she's gonna do yet, but if she decides to have it, he can't be in the game. Nobody around her can be in the game. And he tells her that no, he's gonna stay in the game, he's gonna be at the top, and that's the only way he knows how to protect them, because this nigga was having hallucinations when a girl drugged him. Al drugged him, and he was seeing their future together with kids and enemies and all this and that, and Diana and how he lied to her about being out the game, a bunch of bullshit. And basically he had a hallucination about when he killed Ghost, his son coming back and killing him in that same circumstance or situation. I don't know how from this hallucination he got that I need to step into the game even more, but nonetheless, that's what he did. And she said that's not good enough for her. If he wants to be in the game, he's not gonna be in his kid life. Oh well. But she couldn't just leave out the game. Nobody could just walk away from the game. So they were getting pressed by Don Carter, what's his name? Damn, I ain't watched this season in so long. And his little henchman of the people working with the police and all this and that. And one of them told her or tried to get her to go kill Zion to connect that Tariq and Braden was working with. Zion was allegedly a snitch or cooperating with Don Carter and them, and he started extorting them and everything like that. So they wanted to take him out. So the girl cop tried to get Diana to go do the shit, and of course she got Tariq and Braden to go do it, and they got the job done. The bitch cop was mad as fuck at this. She saw the video and she went to go talk to Diana about it. They get into a brawl. She beat the fuck out Diana and is kicking the fuck out her in her stomach. Of course, this ultimately causes Diana to lose the baby, as we know in that next episode, and Tariq tells her, and Diana goes and get her revenge and smokes her. Now this sends Diana down the dark path for the rest of the season. I think at one point she tried to go sleep with Tariq again, have another baby. He shut that shit down, and that's pretty much how that storyline ended. Now all that is relevant and important to this because once again it showcases how being in his life, it could only fuck up this situation, and which is why Mireya chose not to tell Tommy. But it's gonna have to come a point where she does tell him and he has to make a decision. Once again, knowing they're doing a spinoff, he's gonna stand in life in some way, shape, or form. Is she gonna be okay with this? Is the baby gonna survive? Who knows? But we have a direct instance of them being involved in the life that has repercussions on their happiness, on them having a baby. Tariq and Diana lost their kid for this. So going into the next episode of book 4, or the next few episodes, we need to see when she decides to tell him and the decisions he starts to make surrounding that. I have a few ideas what he decides to do based off the clues, hints from all the trailers, teasers, and everything we've seen so far. But once again, we'll dive into that more when we get to the Mireya section of the video. The last 2 pregnancies we of course have to talk about is from Raising Kanan, and these are going to be a little quicker, and those are Rock with Unique and Kanan with Krystal. Now obviously both of these are a bit quicker because they just decided to get abortions because it was the best case scenario for both of them, once again because of the life they were living. We know of course with Rock sleeping with Unique and Ronnie ultimately taking him out, not knowing what happened to him if he was coming back, she thought that was the best decision to do, even though she told Jukebox that she could have possibly loved Unique, and that situation really never came back up. The one with Kanan and Krystal did, where they started sleeping around in season 3, and towards the end she did tell him that she was of course pregnant, and it just kind of skipped over it going into next season where they was about to sleep together again, and she just said that they had an abortion, they had a conversation about it, and that was that again, once again. So I don't know, they kind of just skipped over both of those things, and I only talk about it because this is obviously an option for Mireya, especially because she is a doctor or a nurse or work at a hospital at the very least, so she obviously know what her options are. But she seemed pretty excited when she first found out she was pregnant, so I think she's absolutely leaning towards wanting to keep it. But with the life they're living, she's gonna be weighing her options, and this leads to when she tells Tommy. How does she tell Tommy, and how does the information reveal? And that's why I think that the situation with Miguel comes up. We know Miguel and Tommy have had it out for each other for a while now, and now Miguel has set a plan in motion when he went to visit Mireya at Tommy's loft, gave her some flowers, and told her basically, hey, we could go to a dinner, me, you, and Tommy, clear everything up, we're family, everything's good. But of course this whole time he was setting up, plotting, and planning to call Ortega in jail and let him know that he's gonna have a drop and location on Tommy for Ortega to take him out so it doesn't fall back on him. I think this creates an opportunity where Mireya probably reveals this in this situation if Tommy and Miguel are going back and forth or going at it, and she just says it and they both realize, and Miguel is gonna have to call off the execution or at least get Tommy and Mireya out this situation. And this is possibly what leads them to teaming up later down the line. We was wondering how we get from where they are now to them working together later, as we can see them in trailers with Tommy and Miguel right next to one another. Looks like they're taking out possibly members of the coalition or something like that. They're gonna team up later, and this could be a big catalyst towards that, finding out that Mireya is pregnant. It makes the most sense in my opinion. So that leads me to think she's gonna keep the baby, she's gonna announce it, and maybe if something does happen to the baby, that's what leads them to teaming up as well. But all things point towards this being the direction they choose to go in with her storyline. Now once again, if they're doing a spinoff and she decides to keep a baby, this creates a storyline with Tariq as well, who just lost a kid, who's gonna see Tommy with his family and knowing how he fucked up. And also we get the Tommy or Tariq and D-Max side of things, both being his nephew. So it's gonna be a lot of parallels and storylines that they could create through Tommy deciding to keep this baby, or them decide to finally go through with a pregnancy storyline in Power. So I'm hoping this is the direction they decide to take things in. It makes the most sense, but you guys can let me know what you think. Overall though, that's it for this video. As usual, I always tell you guys, leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. When it comes to pregnancies in Power, they don't really have too many good outcomes. Now obviously something I didn't mention is in the new spinoff Origins, there is a time skip, so I don't know, but we know Kanan is gonna have Sean, because we already saw that Yarita is announced as one of the cast members, and we know that's the mother of Sean. So we don't know if he's already gonna have Sean, or he's just gonna be with Yarita and then she get pregnant and they do the entire storyline of her having a baby, which I hope they do, because they're skipping over so much with this new time skip in Power Origins. But who knows? All I know is that it's not looking good for her, but I'm thinking they're actually gonna finally switch it up. She had the baby, everything goes smooth, they move over to a new show. I don't know, it's something new for Tommy's character. I feel like it's only so much more development they can do for him, and this is probably the way they can go. You guys, once again, leave a like though, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.